Hey there, folks, and welcome to another episode of Crit Hit Interviews. I'm Arlyeon, and we're here today with Danielle Pellicer. Is that correct?
That's good enough, yes.
Good enough. Okay. And Juan Jesus Leguero.
Muy bien. Very good.
Oh, yeah. Since you guys said I was allowed to call you JJ, I will stick with that from this point onwards, just so I don't mangle your name, because I feel so sorry.
Okay, perfect.
I'm very Canadian. I feel very sorry about all sorts of things. But these two fine folks are from Mad Gear Games, the developers behind A Whole New World, as well as the upcoming Kemono Heroes. Is there anything I missed there?
It's perfect. We had some other projects, but these are not being developed now. So these two are the main things.
Okay. So I like to start off most of these interviews just with sort of like an easy icebreaker question. So first off, I'm actually going to ask if you guys are coffee or tea people or both.
I'm both. I really like coffee and tea.
Only water for me.
Wow.
I drank coffee and tea for me and for JJ.
Okay. So you just like make sure to imbibe all the extra caffeine ever. I think you'd mentioned like before the interview that you actually had what was it? Two French presses and
Yes, I have like two French presses, two Italian coffee makers, and one Nespresso machine. And also, I get tea from Taiwan from a guy who exports it, and super good. So there I am. I'm also covered.
yeah, it's super solid. I'm super jealous.
Yeah, we can always ask him about sending to Canada. Maybe he's up to it.
Oh yeah. Let me know if he is because tea from Taiwan sounds pretty amazing. But yeah, I suppose I'll like aim for a more traditional question now. And so, what would be your favorite games? This is both to you, Daniel, and you, JJ.
For me, I think my favorite game is Shadow of the Colossus. But it's it's a bit strange because my favorite consoles are 16th-bit ones, like Super NES and Mega Drive. It's very hard to choose only one game.
I mean, I hear that. My
But yes,
childhood was like Secret of Mana and Secret of Mana 2.
yes, yeah. But yes, I think my favorite game is that one, Shadow of the Colossus. So, Daniel?
Yeah, I kind of I have to say it's Mega Man 2. But I really like other games also. But let's say our games are very influenced by Mega Man games. It's just
So,
we
it wasn't an accident that I got a very Mega Man vibe from A
no,
Whole New World. I was like,
it's this thing. Actually, when we were doing the Ludum Dare, it was a little bit like I said, oh, I would like to do a Mega Man. Let's try to do something that it's like a Mega Man but different.
you were just missing the Venetian blinds before the boss fights because all the boss fights in Mega Man games have those little metal doors that are basically Venetian blinds in the earlier games.
Yes. Yeah, it would have been maybe too much. It's I think it's already similar enough.
Good stuff. Yeah. I just have really fun memories of Mega Man 2 because the Metal Blade is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think and it's not only the game itself; it's also the music. Everybody, when you say Mega Man music, probably they know about this Willy. Wily stage, no?
Yeah.
This is so amazing. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also
So
the for a whole new world, the music is done using the chip of the NES. So
yeah.
the music is gonna sound similar to NES games.
Yeah, that was something I'd actually noticed. I also noticed like a bunch of the boss themes all had very similar sort of beats and like their left motifs between like a bunch of the bosses,
Mm-hmm.
which was a very NES thing there.
Yeah. This
Uh
kind of yep. This kind of also this kind of drums are like very typical for these NES games.
but yeah, on I suppose the note of gaming, are there any games you two are diving into of late, whether it be indie, tabletop gaming, or otherwise?
I'm playing now Enter the Gungeon. Well, I've just finished the last survey from Toby Fox. You know, Deltarune.
Oh yeah, yeah. The ending of that is a trip.
Yeah, I bought the Switch like 1 year ago already, maybe, and I really like playing on the Switch instead of in the computer now, because in Austria here I only have the Switch, and I was surprised with the amount of indie games that actually are coming, and I really like playing in indie games, and I also like playing AAA games. So right now I'm playing Wonder Song. It's this game about a bat. It's super weird looking and super weird gameplay, but it's very interesting. Did you hear about it?
I'm familiar with it. I haven't played it yet because I'm very fixedly chunking through games I'm doing, and currently I'm juggling Cultist Simulator to get some just story things I've missed, which I'm nearly done. Has Been Heroes, which is a roguelike, so there's just tons of stuff to do in it. And now I've recently dived into Slay the Spire, and yeah, I picked a bunch of games that are just really long.
Yeah.
Uh,
Actually, I also bought Pokemon Let's Go, the EV version, and I didn't play Pokemon since like 10 years or something, and I really liked it. I even liked it. It was more casual this time because I could even level my Pokemon to level 100 super easy. So now I'm finished and I can just go to the next game. I prefer because right now it's not that I have as much time as I had as a kid. I prefer if the games are not so super long.
mm. So here's a question to like both of you is like on your official website it mentioned that you folks ended up forming Mad Gear Games as a result of well it was a tournament related to Go, I believe, and I'm curious to know a bit more about that story and just how it actually ended up leading to the formation of your studio.
Juan,
Me. um,
you tell a little bit and then I tell another little bit.
okay.
It's a tag team match of storytelling.
And there are little Go players here in Spain. And here where I live, there wasn't a club. So I decided to try and open one and create a club of a Go club. And in
Cádiz, you mean, no?
yes, here in Cádiz. So I went to some manga conventions and find some people, and then it was one of those people.
Yeah,
Daniel.
I was just visiting the manga thing and playing around and I saw this game, but I don't even know if I actually played. But my brother was talking with Juan for a while and he was learning, and then it was a coincidence that in my university in Sevilla, they had a club also. So I started to learn. And afterwards, I met Juan again, and then we started to play together, and we became friends. And later with Miguel, it was like this. I was in Madrid in a tournament. I think Juan was around also, but I'm not sure.
Yes,
Or
I
was in
was. I was.
Barcelona. Yeah, and there was a piano there, and I play a little bit piano. So I was playing a theme of Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and
Nice.
we didn't know Miguel yet, but he was around, and he was super surprised that I was playing this geeky song, let's say, of a video game in a Go tournament. It was in a room a little bit separate, and he was like, "Oh, so cool! This is Castlevania, no?" And I said, "Yeah." So we met and we talked about games, and we realized we had similar interest. And then much later, one decided to make a video game company, no?
Yes.
But he started to, maybe you can tell, no, a little bit.
No. Tell it yourself.
So he started making it as a project in Cadiz with a couple of friends. And in that point, I was not yet in the video game development industry. I was just working as a programmer, but I was doing music for video games for other people for free in that moment. So just because it was fun. And I needed some music, so I asked him to if he wanted that I do some music for him. And then he started to have also needs of some programmers. So I asked, "Do you need something little?" I was not expecting like to enter the company, let's say, or anything like that. Just maybe he needed a little bit of help. But I think he misunderstood or something, and he sent me like a huge email explaining all the things that I was supposed to do from that point on. And that's how I started working. I said, okay, maybe it's fun, so let's just do it.
Awesome. So, so that's how you got into game development, then, correct?
Yes.
So, how did you get into game development, Juan?
Can you repeat it, please? Sorry.
Like we sort of heard like how Dan got into game development there. He just sort of like stumbled into it more or less, correct?
Yes.
I'm wondering what was it that like led to you getting into game development, JJ?
Well, since the first time I saw a video game when I was a child in the 80s, I thought that I wanted to make them. I didn't start them. I started 30 years after, but better late than never.
Thumbs up. That's the story of my life. Better late than never. So, what sort of skills has game development required you to put to use, and how did you end up developing those skills?
For me, mostly drawing and animating pixel art. Well, and a bit of everything. Sometimes I do a little programming, a little, but everything. And I learned to draw pixel art a long time ago with a program called Deluxe Paint 2, Deluxe Paint 2 from the 80s also. But I just touched it a little and then forgotten all about this. And lately with Mugen, do you know Mugen?
The fighting game thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that thing. Well, with that, I continued with the pixel art, and some years after that was when I decided to try and make a game company.
Yeah, for me, it's I'm doing the programming and also music and sound. So I studied in the Conservatory of Music in Cadiz a long time ago. I actually studied like clarinet, and this knowledge that I acquired there, I use for composing and stuff. It's not like I'm super good, but I just try to do my best with the little knowledge I have. Because it's not the same to learn how to compose and to learn how to play clarinet, of course. And programming I learned in the university, let's say, and then I was working as a programmer. And but also something you maybe don't listen is that there are other skills that you need as a game developer, as an indie game developer. You need to be able to talk with people in events. You need to be able to talk with publishers. You need to be able to talk with possible players. You need to do taxes. Juan is doing taxes also. It's a very important skill. Not directly, but he's preparing them for the tax advisor. But it's a lot of work also. And yeah, sometimes, yes, for example, like to pitch your game to a publisher is something super important that not everybody knows at the beginning.
Fair. So, overall, what's it been like to work as part of a team for game development, as it were?
I think it's great. It's great. I'm very happy to have found the thing we've got now. Each of us complement the rest. Miguel makes game design, level design, PR, Daniel music, programming, and also PR and more things. And Juan chart design, pixel art, and myself pixel art and some other things. And the best of all is that we communicate very well between us. And we have similar likes, interests. Yes.
Just to comment one thing. Also, the concept art guy who lives in Argentina, he's also called Juan. Okay, so we have
Yes.
two Juans.
Two Juans.
Yeah, I recall that, and I was like, what? One of you at least though has like the alliterative name, so we can say JJ.
Yes.
That was my mental shortcut.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
So yeah, what's the origin of your studio's name, like Mad Gear Games?
Have you ever played Final Fight?
Briefly.
It's an old beaten up game from the end of the 80s, and you play there as Cody, Guy, or Hagar
The mayor
against
guy. I'm pretty
What-
sure
what?
Hagar's the mayor.
Yes, Hagar's the mayor. And then you play against Mad Gear.
It's a
they are the bad
the
guys.
bad guys. The organization of the bad guys is called Medgear.
Oh. Oh.
So we took the name and we thought of it as like we had rehabilitated the organization into a game studio. That's the story. That's the origin.
That's pretty great. So, I mean, most jobs can be stressful, but game development can be a pretty darn stressful hobby. So, well, hobby / career. So do you folks have any tips or practices you do to help manage that stress?
Stop when you need to. Stress can seriously damage your health. No, not only physically but also psychology. I can't pronounce it. Psychologically. So remember to enjoy what you do. Have enough resting time and reserve some time for your family and friends.
Yeah,
That's,
I
I
would
think,
I would also say that it's important to like have a. It sounds like a cliche, okay, but to have like a balanced life and then to also do some sport, try to eat healthy. I also do like meditation, and Juan makes like Tai Chi. So this stuff also like to have some pause time, no? Sometimes.
So a healthy, active life.
yeah.
That thing I
Also
don't
play
do.
video games is
Oh,
important.
play video games. Secret revealed. Don't just make video games, play them.
Yeah.
So we already sort of touched on A Whole New World a little bit, but I figured I'd ask you folks to sort of describe how you view the game. Like, how would you describe A Whole New World to someone who hadn't heard of it or played it?
Daniel? Me?
Yeah.
I think of it as I think it's the legitimate child of Mega Man, Castlevania, and Makaimura sagas. Something like a mix between them.
Wait, what was that third game you mentioned?
Makaimura, Ghost and Goblins.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it plays a little bit like Mega Man, but then the ambientation and how the aesthetics and this stuff it's more based on Castlevania and Ghost and Ghosts.
Yeah.
Yep. And if someone doesn't know about the Whole New World, you would tell it's a retro game based on games of the 80s that emulates the graphics and sound of the NES and also the difficulty, but it adapts some things that are out of date to the new times, so that if you die, you don't start from the beginning of the level, but there are lots of checkpoints, and then
It was
there's
nicer.
this fairy that it's helping you, but it's still
Yeah.
very difficult.
I when I noticed like the fairy was basically a Mega Man charge shot, I was like, oh. And the ground slide, despite coming late, I was like, oh. I have a charge
Yes.
shot in the ground slide. Oh yeah. But yeah, so you've already sort of touched on this, but so how exactly did A Whole New World come to be?
Daniel.
Okay. So at the beginning of Mad Gear, we were developing another game. The name was Ninja Trials. And one day we decided to participate in Ludum Dare. And actually, that was the point where Miguel joined. And Juanito, the concept artist guy from Argentina, he came later. So Miguel was in that time living in Japan, but only temporary. Now he's living there forever, let's say. And we
Forever.
were doing this Ninja Trials game, but there was a Ludum Dare, and Juan wanted to try and participate. And we were all working like from our places, far apart, but connected online. So we said, Miguel, do you want to participate with us? He said, yeah, sure. And in this Ludum Dare was the theme was connected worlds. So all together we came to this idea of the two worlds. One is up and one is down. And then if you fall through the hole, then you are in a new world. The name, I think the name came out also pretty fast, no? Also
Yeah.
in the Ludum Dare, yeah, because it was like logical to us, even if it's little bit too easy pun with the song from Aladdin. This brought us problems later, but in that moment it felt like perfect name.
Yeah, I know, because I tried to like search for gameplay video on YouTube, and I just come with that song all the time. And I'm like, damn it!
Yeah.
I appreciate the pun though. I'm just like, it makes your game very hard to find on YouTube.
This is something we would never do again, but it's always good. It's something we learned now.
But yeah,
Of course, the Ludon Dare version you can still play. It's like a super small version of what we have now, and I'm not polished and a little bit some bugs and stuff. But the idea was already there with the holes. The end boss was already there. The main character was already there, and then we redesigned some stuff. After doing the Ludum Dare, we saw it was fun, so we said maybe we should continue. And there was another event that was make a game in 1 month and just sell one copy of it. Like make one. If you make €1, you already win, and everybody can win. It was not standard competition thing, but it was just so that people learn that putting a game out there is not as easy as you would think. And we developed a little bit more of the game, and we did this. We released the Nichia version that was like 2 stages long, super early version. I think this is not available anymore, and it was also a lot of fun. So we decided to continue and make the whole game. After that, a couple of months later, we did a Kickstarter successfully, and then we we did the game like it is now. If you realize in the game there are strange people around, strange NPCs that help you or do stuff. Like
I
there's
found
a
all the
Tarzan guy.
ones in the first stage, and then none of the rest of them.
Yeah. So these guys are Kickstarter backers that put a little bit more money to be in the game.
I just remember the guys in the dungeon in the first level who were like playing the board game.
Yeah, they were playing Go.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that moment, I was just like, this is so silly, and then I couldn't find any others, and I was just sort of sad, because I was like, I want to find more NPCs, but I can't. Weeps.
Yeah, this is more like if you want to collect all of them, then you have to explore a little bit more the world.
Oh, I tried exploring, although I think like I'll get to the ifs. Are some of them only able to be found in New Game Plus?
Actually, in New Game Plus, I think there are none of them.
Oh, okay. So it's actually stuff I would have had to do in. Okay. I remember, I think it was the ice level where I decided I'm not doing it because those clouds kept trying to kill me, and I was like, nope, running. But yeah, what exactly led to the decision for using holes, normally recognizable in like retro gaming, as instant death as entrances into the reverse world? Because that was sort of a very interesting decision design wise.
Now, Juan.
No, not yours.
But I answered the other question.
Yeah, Dan's answered a lot of questions, JJ. I think it's your turn.
Well, we thought that it was a nice gameplay twist. We thought it during the Ludum Dare. So all of us agreed about that, and that's it.
Fair enough. Yeah, I noticed pretty early on there's a segment where it essentially forces you to jump and fall into a pit because the pit isn't able to be jumped across. Like, you will guarantee to fall into the pit into the first stage, which will introduce you to the other world. Because I read, like, you know, the Steam page and everything, I just walked straight into the first pit I saw, but like if you gifted someone the game blind, I imagine they'd try and jump over the pits at first. Which is just, it's interesting to me because for people who have spent like their childhood learning pits are bad, avoid pits, it's sort of counterintuitive in a way.
Yes, they usually are very surprised when they fall in the holes and they see that they don't die. That's I think we watched it a lot of time when we were testing the game.
Yeah, we would present the game in like these manga conventions or video game
Yes,
conventions or events, and then
yeah.
people would know nothing about the game. Normally, they would see it and say, "Hey, what's this? It's a game. You wanna try? Yeah, sure. How is it played? What do I have to do? Just try." We all, I normally just say, "Just try the game. It's very easy to control." And then they are playing, and when they fall in the hole, they are like, "Oh, I died." And then what's this? It's a lot of fun to see the reactions of the people. It's always different and always surprised.
I mean that's actually super fair because yeah, it does play with that expectation. It's just like I wonder what it's like. Yeah, just enjoyed pulling on the collective legs of all the players everywhere. You've already mentioned like some of the aesthetic for the game was based around you said ghosts and sort of the aesthetic and design was like ghosts and goblins in Castlevania, correct?
Yeah.
Was there anything else that influenced the artistic style you used for the game?
Mostly 8-bit NES games. Yes. Also a bit of inspiration from someone SNES, SNES games like Demon Crest, but mostly 8-bit games. Yes.
I'm actually super happy that you referenced Demon Crest because I love that game.
I love that one too. Yes, it's wow. It was amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, being the Red Aramar is good stuff. So, what was the hardest challenge when making a whole new world?
I think spreading the word about the game. No? No, Daniel?
Yeah, so I think we had a lot of fun during the development of the game, and everything went quite good. Even in Kickstarter, where we were wondering, like, are we going to manage to get the money? Even we didn't ask for much money, but at the end, we finally decided to self-publish, and I think it was not the best idea. If we would do it again, we probably would try to
Hmm.
find a publisher first.
Yeah.
It's very difficult with so little how we are, and at the beginning to reach enough people so that it's so that we earn a little bit of money with it.
So, is there anything that didn't make it into the game that you guys really wanted, whether that be areas, potential enemies, or abilities, perhaps? One of our members of our community, Axel Toss in particular, wanted to know if there were any potions that didn't see the light of day.
Uh, there are a lot of things that didn't make it into the game. We planned a secret level with enemies and boss, and 16-bit mode, two-player mode, a new character, potion mistress, new attacks, and much more. One of the potions, the potion of light, and also Faye originally was going to have different attacks depending on the select potion, and most other things. One of the things we struggled against was finishing the game. We don't without including all of this. But we had to, if we continue developing, we never have finished.
Yeah, it comes a point where you have to just finish the game and release. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's never gonna finish.
Fair enough. Which, on the subject of potions, both Axeltoss and myself note that the Potion Master's mobility is somewhat limited in keeping with like the simple controls until late in the game when he receives the Blood Potion, which, you know, gives you the ability to double jump and to slide and thus to try new routes to explore the various stages. Was this always intended as a means of sort of nudging people to dive into New Game Plus to further explore the world, or was the player intended to be able to backtrack once upon a time?
At a certain point, we thought about letting the player backtrack using the map, but originally the idea was using it for New Game Plus.
Yeah. Also, we wanted to make really like the first stage to be like anybody could beat the first stage, and then really increase difficulty to reach like NES games difficulty. And having this also allowed us to ask more from the players at the end. Maybe if we would do it again, we would make it differently. That's why Kemono Heroes is different. Kemono Heroes, you have to slide and double jump from the beginning.
Which we're gonna touch on Komodo Heroes in a bit, but you've already mentioned this, I think, a little bit. But do you have a specific favorite memory of watching someone play your game? In this case, A Whole New World.
Yes, there was a moment when we released the game. There were some people in Twitch playing the game, and we had the opportunity to see live a girl. I think it was from Sweden or something like this, playing against the last boss, and it was so good. For me as a developer, I was enjoying it so much. Not that she would die all the time. She spent 5 hours, so 5 hours fighting against the final boss, and she managed it at the end. She didn't want to stop. It was so amazing that she really wanted to beat that guy, and she was feeling so good after beating it, and she was so happy. We were actually trying to help her through the comments without telling her that we were developers.
Yeah, I know that feeling because that boss killed the crap out of me when I first got there. Specifically because like he has a goddamn instant kill, and so you know I do like so much the fight perfectly, and then he just pounce on top of me and kill me, and I'm like, God damn it!
Can I tell him one about the
Yes, you
secret?
can. You can.
There is actually a way. We didn't want to do it so evident, so I don't feel so bad. But there's a way you can avoid that he instant kill you. If you just push all the buttons when he's holding you, you can actually escape the
Oh god
his.
damn
his-
it! Wait, does that work in the first fight too?
Yes, actually it
Yes.
was.
Yes.
So I don't know if I should say much more. Did you play? And I don't know, Juan. No, no. There
Be
are
careful.
some
Careful.
there are some things you can do about the first battle, but
Uh,
yeah, okay, enough.
I mean,
no, no.
You can ask me off the record later if you want. I don't know if
in
lots
New
of
Game
people who didn't play.
Plus, I did cheese him by shooting him with like the blood shots from across the
Ah,
room.
okay. Yeah.
Which causes it to start. I just do not function well in the screen flip mode. Like it actually makes me a little motion sick.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't clear it that well. I got the actual proper last fight started, and then I was like, oh, and now I die because dodging you. And actually, this is a legitimate question I was curious about. So when you go into like the reverse world, your up and down arrows don't flip. And I was wondering what led to that decision, because it does make things like using the slide and the stomp a little trickier.
Did you play the Steam version?
Yes.
Yeah, there is actually an option to invert this.
Damn it! I didn't find it. Cries.
Yeah.
Oh, that was like I think my biggest gripe was just like, the control there. Would be good to flip that. Oh
The thing
God.
is, some people naturally prefer the way we have it now, and some other people prefer the other way, and it's really very, very depending on the person. So we had to take a decision and put the other one in the options, and we are aware that not everybody is going to find it.
I think it's because I've played a bunch of games that would, flip your controls when you got like flipped upside down. So it
Mhm.
sort of became like muscle memory at that point. So I'm fighting against what so many other games have taught me. If I'm sticking on the ceiling, my up and down is reversed. Uh, good stuff. Weeps. So, at this juncture, is there anything else planned for Whole New World, such as more content, or is your focus going to be more on Kemono Heroes, the game we've been alluding to on and off?
We may make some little updates, like new languages support mostly, but we are now focused on Kemono Heroes. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, we released the game in the Japanese market for the Switch in 1st of November. So,
I mean, very fair.
yeah.
So, essentially, on the subject of Kemono Heroes, would you care to tell us a bit more about the game since it's currently in development?
Yeah, Kemono Heroes is a like 4-player co-op game which combines elements of run and gun games, also like Mega Man and Contra, but also with dashes and slashes. So you have a sword and you have kunais to attack short distance and long distance. And the characters are all like cute animals, like in games like in Sonic or Freedom Planet or something like this. And cooperation and fighting together and helping each other is like very important. But there is also totally possible to play one player game and enjoy the experience to the maximum.
So, how is the co op going to work? Is it going to be lobbies, by invitation, local, all of the above, or some of them?
We will try to do all of the above, but it's still early to really know.
And just as a side point, for the co op, is it going to be like a life system or like shared lives, or are players going to be able to revive each other since that sort of thing gets dealt rather differently in a number of brawlers and running. You know what I mean?
Each player will have his or her own lives, and will be able to revive others, then sharing their lives. If somebody is dead, you can give him or her one of your lives. Also, if they are totally dead, you can help him or her recover.
Yeah, let's say if one person loses all the energy of the actual life, it will lie in the floor and it will have a counter on top of it, so you can use this little counter to try and recover him, like first aid or something like this. I'm sure you have seen this in other games.
Yeah, like Scott Pilgrim.
Exactly like that.
Yeah, exactly like that.
We all like also Scott Pilgrim a lot.
Have
The
fun!
game and the music.
Yeah. So there's four different characters, which all apparently will play differently. Can you give examples?
Juan.
Yeah. Uh, each of them have special abilities. The folks can disguise like the enemies. The cat can climb the walls, and the squirrel can fly, and the monkey can use lianas to
Go from
reach.
3 to 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they sort of have combat applications, but they're more actually going to let you sort of explore more of the world and discover more of its secrets.
Yeah.
Okay. So will the players be able to play as duplicates, or will they possibly have to compete to play as their favorite characters?
We are thinking about this now. We are not sure. Let's see. We somehow like this. At least this first playthrough that every person has a different character. Maybe you can unlock that you can really take the same character twice.
Nice little hidden collectible somewhere.
Sorry.
A nice little hidden collectible somewhere, just the ability to play as duplicates of the same character. That's been a thing I've seen done in a couple games.
Yeah. So it would be like it has a palette color change, and then you can use the 2 times the fox, for example.
So, one of the game's features, and this was one that caught my eye, states that it's different every single day of the year. Would you care to clarify that point? And is it specifically tied to the different days of the year?
Yeah, exactly. This is the catch. Other games just make every day of every day you have a challenge. We wanted to do like something like the weather changes during the year. So if you play 1st of January, the game is gonna feel in a way, and if you play 7th of July, the game is gonna play in some other way. What is going to change is the weather of the levels, but this weather changes the how the game feels and plays.
So, my question here is the like how many different types of weather is it going to be, and is it going to be tied to generally the seasons, or is there also going to be like winter but also snowing, or summer and also raining?
Yeah, they will probably have this summer, but also raining, things like this. So if you play today, maybe it doesn't rain, but tomorrow it rains. And
So
we didn't decide how many different weathers are going to be, but every single day is gonna feel a little bit different.
and is it going to be mostly like a sort of aesthetic thing, or how do you plan on having these sort of influence the gameplay, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah. So for example, if there is snow, then maybe some little snowballs will create on the floor, and then you are going to be slower walking there. If there's wind and rain, then you are gonna be carried by the wind, and you have to be careful when you jump and things like this. If there is like a storm, then everything is gonna be like black, and then when the lightning comes, then you will see and you can advance.
Huh.
The thing is, this would affect all the game, the whole game. So maybe sometimes the game is gonna be more difficult, and sometimes it's gonna be easier.
Are there any of the boss encounters that are going to be... Wait, I mean, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. First off, how large will each of the worlds be, and how many bosses are there going to be?
Juan,
Daniel,
come on, you know also.
you know better.
Right now we have like I think 5 bosses, 5 boss fights, and we have like 13 levels, but we still want to do. We have like 1 hour of content, the main story, and we want to do it much longer. We want to do at least like 5 hours. So there's gonna be lots more stages. It's just they are not done, so I cannot tell you much about them yet.
How many bosses are planned? You said there's
We
5 currently, correct?
We plan to have 9, but I'm not sure we can keep with this.
Okay.
5, I'm sure, because we have already 5.
I suppose the other thing is, are any of the weather conditions going to influence how the bosses fight?
This still is also not perfectly defined.
Okay. I figured I'd ask, so that when you're like storm, I'm just thinking like if there's going to be like a storm boss and it's just going to be a pain in the butt to fight during a storm, I'm probably going to do this to myself, but
Yes, let's see about this. There's still some stuff to be decided.
uh so a whole new world was a fairly story light experience. Is that something that will carry on into Kimono Heroes, or will there be more lore and story for those seeking it out? Also, will there also be different endings in Kimono Heroes?
You know that in a whole new world, you can unlock three different endings.
Yep. I'm aware of that there's three. I only found the one.
We have a pair of endings planned, but we are still working on them. Daniel, you
About
speak.
the story, yeah,
Yes.
the story we have the world has really much more story and much more things going on, but all of them or most of them are in the background. So if you I don't know, we want to tell, it's gonna be really story light like in a whole new world, but there is things that are in the lore that influence how the world is perceived, and there are, let's say, in the background you can see some depictions of fights of the past and things like this, and this we have really prepared, like there's a background story going on, but I don't know how much of this story is going to be told in game and how much is going to be told through other methods.
First off, like by other methods, do you have other things planned for a whole new? Or sorry, do you have other things planned for Kimono Heroes, like short stories, comics, merch, or what have you?
Yeah, maybe we do like in Kemono Heroes and we do something like a comic, or could be something like this, but still is not decided.
So, what platforms is Kimono Hero currently slated to be? Like, what are the platforms you're aiming to release on?
Uh, PC, Windows, Linux, Mac, also Switch, PS4, and Xbox.
And is there a release date you folks are aiming for?
Yeah,
Es que
end of 2019.
Okay. And so once the main release is finished, do you have additional content that you guys would like to sit down once you have something for people to settle down on, or will you be moving on to other projects?
I think it's really too early to know. It depends on how well the game is taken by the audience. If really the people like it a lot, then maybe we have things we could do if. So we had things planned that we could add in case we want to expand it a little bit more, but it really depends. Otherwise, we would move to the next project.
Which, on that note, is there anything else you're working on or planning beyond Kimono Heroes?
Yeah, in Mad Gear Games, we are doing this right now. As maybe you know, we all work in other projects. So, for example, I work in World of Tanks. Then Juan is JJ is working in other indie projects. Miguel is working as a localization lead in Japan, and Juanito is also working in a lot of other projects. But Mad Gear Games right now only Kimono.
Okay. So the retro aesthetic is fairly noticeable in both Whole New World and Kimono Heroes. Is that something you intend to continue refining and using in future Mad Gear game titles? Or is there other specific game styles or artistic styles you aim to pay homage to or make your take on for future titles?
Um, my favorite games are usually pixel art games. So I'd like to continue making pixel art games if possible. But also maybe we could do another kind of games. Daniel?
Yeah, we were thinking in the future maybe to try also with not pixel art stuff, but I don't think we would go 3D. We like 2D stuff. It, let's
If
see.
if we made 3D, probably would be low poly 3D, kind of N64 or something like that.
Fair. So, winding this specific interview down, first off, I just wanted to know if you guys had anything else you wanted to share with the audience at this juncture.
Daniel?
Uh, yeah, thank you very much for taking the time to hear what we have to say, and thank you very time, Ali, for making this interview to us. It was interesting to talk to you, and yeah, we are looking forward to releasing Kemono Heroes and seeing what other people think, and we are happy that you enjoyed the whole new world. Also, maybe some people don't know, you can also play A Whole New World in Switch, in PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And
I'm sorry for my broken English, and thank you very much for having us here.
It was a pleasure to have you both attend, and I'm grateful you took me up on the invitation to go and be a part of this interview. I suppose, other than that, the only thing I could think to ask is there any indie projects that you two have had your eye on that you found interesting you'd want to share with the audience?
I have a pair of indie projects. Yes. Katana Zero is one of them. EITR,
Oh,
another one.
Aether.
Yeah. The Viking lady, no?
Yeah.
That one, yeah. And another one called Ziver Shadow. It's a ninja game with NES aesthetic.
I have a couple of projects that I backed on Kickstarter. I'm curious about. One of them is Bloodstained. I
Oh,
played the
yes.
I played the Curse of the Moon version, the NES version. I think it's super good. I
Yeah,
really enjoyed it a lot, and I'm looking forward to see what the full-fledged version would be. I'm not super fan of the 3D art style. It reminds me a little bit of what happened with Mighty Number 9, and this is always like not super good.
Yeah.
I really like Mega Man games, and Mighty Number 9 was not what I was expecting. So I hope this Bloodstein is really good. Also,
The
there's
Curse of the Moon was good though. So good.
this one was already very good. Yes, so I'm already very happy. And then there's another game from Spanish company called Blasphemous. Maybe you have heard of it.
Yeah, yes I have. I back that too.
I think it looks also incredible, and
Yeah.
we had the chance to play in one of the conferences in Spain, very early version, and it even if it was very early version, it feels so good and it's so amazing that I'm really excited about that.
Back in the day for the early alpha for the Kickstarters, I actually broke the game in a really funny way. Managed to fling myself through the ground, and then it did fun weird things. I never managed to replicate that one, but that alongside a bunch of other stuff, started this running gag that I break every single game I get my hands on. But yeah.
There is another one, which is called Fleeing, Song of Crimson. It's a
Yes, I've also been following that.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
It
I'm
also
indie
looks amazing.
trash.
But
I
I've heard they changed it. They changed a lot of stuff now. So, but I mean, the pixel art is amazing. The battle looks a lot of fun.
satisfying. It looks super
So
satisfying.
yeah, exactly. Really, how he hits the. I'm watching a GIF right now while I talk, and it's like so satisfying to see how he hits the enemies.
I still need to play Chasm, but
Yeah, this I was very looking forward to it, but then I saw the reviews in Steam, and then I was a little bit disappointed. I want to try anyways as well.
same.
And there was also this other one. It's called the one that looked like Shadow of the Colossus. Juan?
Yes,
Gambit, Death Gambit.
Death Gambit, yeah.
It is not like Shadows of the Colossus for the most, but there is an area that gives you a sort of Shadows of the Colossus vibe, and there is a boss that you can climb up it, but like the grappling hook thing that was going to be used for like the more Shadows of the Colossus moments isn't in there, and the ability to climb on top of this one boss and like kill it by just smacking this sword stabbed in its head is no longer there. But you can climb up a giant stone statue that looks like the knight from Shadows of the Colossus still, and then have a sword fight with a lady up while standing on its arm, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I guess it's not what I expected in the beginning with the early gifts and stuff. But yeah, maybe I get to try it soon also.
It's if you're a fan of Metroidvanias and Souls likes, it's a fairly solid one. There's aspects to it that can be a bit like its challenge runs are unforgiving, but if you enjoy difficulty, there's a lot there to be had. And I enjoy hard things, so I was like, heck yeah.
Yeah, I also like hard things. It depends. I for example think Celeste it's a very good game, but I didn't enjoy the difficulty there. I'm not a fan of Super Meat Boy stuff. I don't know why. It just doesn't appeal to me as much as other kind.
It's not my typical cup. Like, I finished half the B-sides, and I think that was about that. And then I saw the C-sides and was like, nope. No, just I've seen gifs of that, and just no. No. Like, I was proud of what I got done in the B-sides, but like...
If I'm allowed to comment one more, it's I'm playing right now because I also backed the Kickstarter. It's called Moonlighter. It's,
yeah, the merchant one.
Yeah, exactly. I think the in the beginning I was having a lot of fun. I mean, now it stopped a little bit the pace of the game, but I still think it's very good. It's I didn't expect the selling stuff to be so much fun. Actually, it's you think, oh, I get to be a merchant. That is very weird. Am I gonna have fun selling stuff? But yeah, you have.
I've thought of Reciteer, if you've ever heard of that. Like, when I heard Moonlighter, it made me think of Reciteer, which you're a merchant. And you get to price gouge people, and it's great.
I think I don't know. I will check this one. Reciteer.
But yeah, overall, to those fine folks in the audience, I'd like to send out a big thank you for sticking by for the entirety of the interview. If you've made it this far, you can buy or wish list A Whole New World on Steam. For news, you can go and check out Mad Gear Games on Twitter. Plus, they do have a spiffy website that you can check out with links to all of the above in the description. And is there anywhere else you'd care to send people?
Just thank you very much for listening until now, and see you in our next game.
Yeah, if you guys are willing to go and like chatter with me when Kemono Heroes comes out, I'd be totally down for picking your brains about the finished product.
Totally do that.
Anyways, overall, Ciao until the next time, folks. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a comment in, well, the comment section. Or if I guess you didn't enjoy it and had any sort of constructive criticism. Otherwise, if you'd like to see more of the interviews, reviews, or other indie odds and ends that end up on the YouTube channel, feel free to hit that subscribe button and the bell to get an alert when we next release something. See you next time, folks.